One other issue that the governor has loomed large over lately is when and how high school football will be played in our state. In my view, on that measure, adults have let the kids down lately. Don't care if you think that it would be smarter if they played in the fall or if you think that they should wait to the spring. This business by the governor and CHSAA of hinting at fall football, then yanking it away and dangling it again, it's gotten pretty ridiculous. So while the governor said that he was open to the idea of playing in the fall, the people who actually run high school sports in Colorado said that behind the scenes, the governor and his team would not give them the needed variances that they needed in order to play football. And again today, the governor's floating this idea.
I think there's a window. The window's still open for the additional fall sports that had been talked about, football, field hockey for women. I think that if not every district is ready to do those, but I think many are.
CHSAA Commissioner Rhonda Blandford Green says she's still talking to the governor's office and that she thinks that they're ready to offer those public health variances and additional funding if the districts need it. Perhaps for the sake of the players, maybe the adults could stop talking publicly until they all agree privately and then announce once and for all when Colorado is going to play football.